So, some of you sports fans out there, I've got a small bone to pick with you today. And it's going to be between two guys, one in the NBA, one in the NFL, two who might win the MVP this season in each league. It's going to be Joel Embiid and Brock Purdy. I want to talk about Joel Embiid first. Before I get into this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Guys, help me out a little bit. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, the hate towards Joel Embiid, I do not understand it whatsoever. Now, granted, him in the playoffs, has he underperformed? Yes, he has. Does he flop for fouls sometimes? Yes, he does. But I want you to look at it this way. Joel Embiid averages 34, 11, and 5 assists per game as a center. He shoots about 12 free throws per game. Kobe Bryant, in his prime, shot about the same amount of free throws per game, 10 to 12. Nobody complains. Michael Jordan, same thing. 10 to 12 free throws. Nobody complains. All of a sudden, when you have Joel Embiid do it, when you have James Harden do it, when you have any player in the NBA today do it, it's a huge bashing to the game. It's terrible. Oh, he's flopping. Oh, it's too many free throws. Oh, the pace is too slow. It's like we pick and choose who we want to love and who we want to not love. And granted, I understand that Joel Embiid is in need of criticism. But on top of that criticism, you have to mention the fact that the guy is the leading scorer in the NBA over the last 3 seasons so far. He is one of the best defensive centers in the league. He's averaging almost 2 blocks a game this season. He can still get you 5 assists per game. He is constantly in the MVP conversation, and he's one of the greatest talents at center that the league has ever seen. He's literally a modern-day Hakeem Olajuwon. Super feet, can hit the mid-range jumper. He can do everything on the court. The only thing he has not replicated about Hakeem Olajuwon's career would be the playoffs. That would be the only reason I could see you probably saying, okay, Joel Embiid he needs to be a tier below some of these all-time centers. But when it comes to today's game, this guy deserves to be on an equal level as Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic has done in the playoffs. Nikola Jokic has won 2 MVPs. Awesome. But it's not like Joel Embiid sucks, y'all. Joel Embiid had a playoffs where he averaged 30 points per game. Nobody talked about it. 27 and 10. Nobody talks about it. We just focus on the last 2 seasons. That's what I kind of dislike that we do to Joel Embiid when it comes to the playoff conversation, right? We focus on the last 2 seasons. How about his whole career? For his entire career, he doesn't show some massive playoff drop-off. What he shows, there's a drop, of course, but it's not a massive drop-off. It's like 25 and 10 on 46% shooting. That's not bad, right? That's not terrible. And I think it's just unfair how we pick and choose the players to hate on, despite the amazing, career-altering, and in many times, in many instances, history-producing production that these players put up. It's insane to me. We don't hate any other center the same way. Nikola Jokic could come out and shoot 30 free throws tomorrow. Giannis shot 30 free throws the other night in a 64-point game. You didn't hear anybody saying, oh, it's too many free throws. He flops for free throws. Yada, yada, yada. All of the crazy excuses. It's insane to me. I think the Joel Embiid hate is totally unwarranted. The dude is averaging 34, 11, and 5 as a center, and I think he is, right now, the rightful regular season MVP. Now, going into my next point, we got to talk about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is 100%, as he should. He's the favorite to win MVP, and he should be. He has played like the best quarterback in the league. Now, what I hear people saying is, well, Brock Purdy's surrounded with all that talent. And my response to that would be, good. He is. Just like every other star quarterback was in their prime. Tom Brady had some of the greatest defenses of all time around him, of all time. Some of the greatest defenses ever around him, combined with having players like Randy Moss, Julian Edelman, who won a Super Bowl MVP, Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, Rob Gronkowski, arguably the best playoff tight end of all time, arguably the best tight end of all time. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice. I think that's all I need to say. And he had an incredible defense. Ronnie Lott. You had Charles Haley. At one point, he had running back Garrison Hurst. He was a 1,000-yard back. Brett Favre. Did we just forget about Donald Driver? Did we just forget about those great those great Green Bay defenses? Did we just forget about all that? Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. Last year, you had Juju Smith-Schuster. He has arguably the greatest tight end of all time, and Travis Kelce for his entire career. The point that I'm getting to here is that these are mutually beneficial relationships. These aren't quarterbacks just relying on talent. And that's the inaccuracy in the, but Brock Purdy is surrounded by all the talent argument. That's what I think. He's leading the NFL in passing yards. He's going to pass for well over 4,000 yards. He is one of the most efficient quarterbacks we have ever seen this season. Why in the world is this guy getting penalized for having talent around him? It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. The dude is the MVP right now, and the only person that will compete and that is competing for his MVP is Christian McCaffrey, who's having an incredible season within himself. Every quarterback, every great player in any sport that wins a championship has been surrounded by immense talent. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you will look at any of the legends, they've been surrounded by immense talent. The best boxers, the Floyd Mayweathers, the Muhammad Alis, have the greatest trainers, they have the greatest regimes. They're surrounded in talent, you just can't see it on the field. It's behind the scenes. They have the greatest media presence. They have the greatest PR teams. They have the greatest trainers. I mean, Floyd Mayweather's dad was a champion, a Hall of Famer, arguably. He taught Floyd everything that he knew. So it doesn't make sense to me why we go to Brock Purdy having an MVP season and try and nullify that because he's surrounded by talent. Because at the end of the day, every great quarterback, every great player, every great team has talent. Then there's the coaching situation. Tom Brady had Bill Belichick. Joe Montana had Steve Mariucci. Brett Favre. Pat Mahomes has Andy Reid. Why in the world do we pick and choose who we criticize? And it's kind of the point of the video. Why in the world is Joel Embiid getting beat up for averaging 12 free throws a game? Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant did the same thing. Exactly the same thing. They got fouled a lot. They were incredibly aggressive scorers, which is what Joel Embiid is. Which is what James Harden was. Why is he getting penalized for it? Do you mean to tell me that not one time did Kobe or Michael sell a foul? You mean to tell me that every single time they're getting knocked on the floor, they're getting knocked on the floor, concussion, getting hit really hard? That would be an inaccurate statement. These guys are playing aggressive, and that's why they're getting fouled so much. Of course they're going to be at the free throw line. If I'm averaging 35 points per game, I'm going to the free throw line a lot. I'm not scoring 35 points without free throws. It's never happened in the NBA. It never will happen. Going back to the Brock Purdy argument, why in the world are we trying to penalize him for having the best talent around him? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. I think it's ridiculous. And I wanted to talk to you guys today strictly about that. Why in the world do we pick and choose who we criticize? Why is it when Tom Brady has a team with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown, it's, Tom Brady is so great. But when Brock Purdy has a team with CMC, Brandon Ayuk, and what's the other wide receiver's name? Deebo Samuel. Why is it when he has those, it's, they're so good, Brock Purdy's just the game manager? What's wrong with game managing? If game managing gets me 7 Super Bowls, I'll game manage for my entire career. Joel Embiid, he shoots 11 free throws a game. He's a flopper. He's a baby. He baits for fouls. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan do the same thing. They're great. Best scorers ever. They're fantastic. They're something we've never seen before. How is that accurate to any of you? How can you look at a player that's doing essentially the same thing and somehow nullify that? Somehow make it less extraordinary because it doesn't look the way you want it to look. He's not carrying a bad team, so he must not be good. What kind of logic is that? That's ridiculous. LeBron James didn't have to carry the Heat, so he must not be as good as he was. No, dude. He's just slipped into a role that benefits him and the team. Why in the world does Joel Embiid's 35 look different than Kobe's and Michael's 35 or LeBron's 31? It's because Joel Embiid plays a different position. He has a different role on his team. It's I know it's a rant. I know it's something that a lot of people are going to come into the comments and say, oh, Micah, Joel Embiid flops, doesn't show up in the playoffs. LeBron James, how dare you compare those guys to Joel Embiid, Micah? And what I'm going to say is the comparison is there, whether you like it or not. Does it look like LeBron and Kobe? No, it doesn't. Is it the same production? Yes, it is. Whether you like it or not, those are the facts. The fact is that Joel Embiid is one of the greatest scorers that the league has ever seen. That's a fact. What can you do to tell me that's not true? Over the last 3 years, he's averaged 30 points per game. 3 seasons, 30 points per game. Let anybody else come out and do that. The number one argument for Michael Jordan being the greatest scorer of all time. Oh, he averaged 30 points per game for 7 years. He's a 10-time scoring champ. Why isn't it the same with Joel Embiid? Going back to Brock Purdy. Oh, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. You know, he made everybody around him better. Why isn't Brock Purdy viewed in that same light? Why isn't Joe Montana viewed in that same light? Why wasn't Cam Newton viewed in that same light? Why wasn't Colin Kaepernick viewed in that same light? Why are they system quarterbacks when Tom Brady's an all-time great? And it's taking nothing away from Tom Brady. It's taking nothing away from him. He is an all-time great. But why do we pick and choose who we take away from? That's the whole basis of this video. It's the whole basis of it. I'm going to end out on this. Joel Embiid is no doubt a top 5 player, maybe top 3 player in the league today. He's a defensive monster, and he is one of the best offensive centers we've ever watched and ever will watch. Going to the NFL, Brock Purdy is right now by far the front runner to be the league MVP, and rightfully so. Brock Purdy has been the best quarterback in the league this year. He is having one of the most efficient seasons ever at the quarterback position. He reminds me, honestly, a lot of Drew Brees. Doesn't have the arm strength, not the super special, gifted talent. He's not the 6'5" quarterback, but he's somebody with the brain power. He's somebody who processes really, really quickly, and he is somebody who is ultimately going to go down and is on pace to go down as one of the best quarterbacking seasons, has one of the best quarterbacking seasons, and may go down as one of the best quarterbacks ever. He might do that. Who knows? But that's going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. You guys help me a little bit. Of course, quicker videos are going to be coming down on TikTok, so watch out for those. But without further ado, I wish you nothing but the best. Stay loved, stay blessed. Thank you for watching. I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching.